Happy New Year. Today is January 1st, 2023. It's a very exciting time to be alive for any individual who wants to be excited. To tell you the truth, I'm one of those individuals. I'm very excited about the future. On that note, I've been thinking a lot about this writing project that I am endeavoring to finish that goes in tandem with this countdown to 5% body fat. My idea was to provide insight into the psychology behind what's actually required to stay focused, stay consistent, and actually hitting such a low body fat percentage. But it can be applied to anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be that specific goal, but just on the whole, there is a certain level of discipline that is required to achieve things that are hard. This current pursuit of reaching 5% body fat and just creating this beautiful physique that I have in mind for myself is difficult. And like I said in the prologue, setting your sights on something difficult, on mastering a skill, on achieving excellence in a certain field creates a wider, it creates a greater experience of life than if you didn't set yourself on the task. Granted, along the journey of hitting that destination or hitting that goal, you will fail many times. And you will grow from those failures. And you will expand and become stronger and more disciplined and more focused as a result of not giving up. I can't imagine giving up. I truly cannot imagine giving up. Giving up at something that I know is to my core desire. I can't imagine giving that up. That would be true failure. Instead, what ends up happening is I go off the wagon every once in a while. I have a goal in mind and I'm not actively pursuing it, or I'm going in the opposite direction. In this specific example of hitting 5% body fat, any time that I have a surplus of calories on a day, and I just happen to love eating food, but any time that I do eat more food than I'm supposed to, I am going in the opposite direction of my goal. Does that make me a failure? For the weeks and months and years that I didn't actively start setting up this health and wellness consulting service, even though I knew that it was something that I would ultimately would have to set up, did that time spent not actively pursuing that, did that make me a failure? I don't think so. I think giving up, I think quitting is what makes you a failure. Anything beyond that is just failing. But there's nothing wrong with failing, as long as you're not a failure. Anyway, so I've been thinking about this, and I recorded a video and called it Chapter 1 yesterday, New Year's Eve, and it was like an hour long, talking about my history, my journey at the beginning of getting into bodybuilding and weightlifting and stuff like that. And it kind of all boiled down to, I started working out to get the attention of women, girls at the time. And the bodybuilding, or the obtaining of six-pack abs, and later on in my life, biceps, yielded the results that I hoped for. And so I never turned back. The thing that keeps popping in my mind about what it is that I'm actually undertaking in relation to this particular project, the Way of the Shred, is I am not at my final peak yet, my final form. I am on a ascent to it. I'm on a trajectory, but I haven't reached it yet. So I try to keep that in mind as I'm quote unquote writing this book, is that the only thing I really have to offer is the mindset of an individual who believes that he can do something special in his lifetime. And we're applying that belief to creating an iconic aesthetic physique that does not yet exist in this reality. So, in essence, you're listening to the words of a man who is filled with self-belief, but has yet to accomplish the thing that he believes he's capable of accomplishing. Just want to make that clear for everyone listening. That's what the situation is. By the time this book gets published, I will have undoubtedly hit some level of quality that is that could be deemed special. Some standard. Will it be my final form? Probably not. My final form's probably years away. But by the time I'm finished with this book and have it published, I will have a physique that is worth talking about. Let's just put it that way. So it's really just inviting you along for the ride to getting there. Yeah. Let's talk about the pitfalls and the hurdles and the failures that occur along this ride. I don't foresee many more failures in this pursuit. At least not nearly as many as have occurred leading up to this current point in time. We're in a new year. It's a new year. Last year was really dedicated to a lot of experimentation a lot of experimentation. I had learned about the concept of calorie deficit in 2021. I applied it to fantastic results. I lost 40 pounds in 2021. Calorie deficit coupled with going to the gym regularly creates profound results. Simple as that. It creates the best results. However, 2022 rolled around, and instead of sticking with the tried and true method of, like I said, calorie deficit and going to the gym, I was looking for like some workaround. And the reason being is because I thought it was a bit boring to eat the same food every day and not allowing yourself to indulge on the stuff that you like eating. For me, I grew up enjoying fast food and eating until I was completely full with a stuffed stomach. Taco Bell, McDonald's, pizza, burgers. I enjoyed eating out often. In fact, to this day, I still don't really cook for myself. So my plan in this past year was to kind of figure out a way to allow myself to eat whatever I wanted while still maintaining a physique that I could be proud of. And it didn't work. The first half of the year, I was doing the prolonged fasting method, where I would eat a surplus of calories on one day and then fast for several days and then eat again. And sure, yeah, I lost weight. But I did not maintain the muscle mass. And I'm going to sound like a broken record when it comes to this topic, but the binge eating and prolonged fasting strategy did not suit my purposes for maintaining a ideal aesthetic physique. Then the latter half of the year, you want to talk about strategy, there was a strategy, and the strategy was getting back on a caloric deficit and just sticking with it. I don't know why it was so difficult for me. Probably because by the time that I realized that eating the same amount of calories every day, essentially, by the time I realized that that was what worked, I had already developed this new habit of binge eating. And it's really hard to kick. I'm not gonna lie. I would look a lot different if I didn't have this new issue. If I hadn't created this habit, this detrimental habit. But it's all good because I like working through obstacles. And this whole desire to overeat all the freaking time is nothing more than an obstacle. And it's one that I can overcome, and I am overcoming. So, it's all good. This upcoming year, 2023, it's not even probably, it is going to be my most focused and my most disciplined year of life. I will hit the goals that I have set in mind for myself for a very long time. I'm going to see changes in my physique, my mentality, my world, my finances, my influence in positive ways. And this is the journey that you are going to follow along with me on. The apex of all alphas. That's the brand. That's the brand. I'm going to turn myself into a superhero that lives in reality. And give the rest of the world an opportunity to fictionalize their own life story. Because I think perhaps it was just how I was raised. I've always enjoyed fiction over nonfiction. I've always enjoyed comic books over documentaries. So the idea of turning myself into a superhero, I'm just following in the footsteps of Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. But they weren't born with my genetics. They haven't done the things that I'm capable of doing. And just think, what are you capable of doing? What are you capable of accomplishing that is outside of my imagination? Something to think about. Something to think about. Because I have a pretty big imagination. But it really is confined to my own capability. If I were to say that I have a superpower, it's my high level of self-belief, which I'm able to apply to whatever I'm interested in. Obtaining a godlike physique. Cool. I like this one much better than the one that I'll be scrapping. Let's have a great year.